Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes.
There we go. Here you are. Hi, Olu. You're live on the Buddha Fields in the Web Facebook Live.
Okay. Thank you very much. Hello, everyone. My name is Olu, and today I will be teaching a dynamic form of yoga called Power Yoga, which is based on the Ashtanga sequence of postures, but it's a little bit more spontaneous. So it's not going to be a fixed sequence as you find in Ashtanga. We'll just kind of make things up as we go along.
Great. I'm going to let the, we'll admit everyone who's in the waiting room earlier at the moment in coming into Zoom. So let me admit everyone in. There's a couple joining. Great.
Oops, hello.
Hello, Loretta. Hello.
Hi, thank you. I guess I mute myself now.
I don't know if you can unmute yourself. I think it's been set to be muted. So I can't hear you at the moment. Hello, Mimi. Hello. Great. I was just introducing myself on Facebook because that went live before the Zoom. My name is Olu, and we're going to be doing Power Yoga today. What we're probably going to do is we will be starting off with a bit of a warm-up. So we'll start off quite slow, relatively slow, and then we'll gradually pick up the pace. And as we pick up the pace, I'll probably layer more and more postures on other postures. Better experience than explained. So, go to my mat here. Let's start off on our mats. And if you'd all like to come to all fours. So let's begin with the hands under the shoulders. Spread your fingers slightly. Have your knees underneath your hips. And let's just begin with rotating the hips in one direction. So we start off with small circles. And then perhaps gradually increase the size of the circle. And then when you're ready, change direction. So rotating the hips in the opposite direction. As we did on the other side, you can start with small circles and then gradually increase the size of the circles. So just exploring what's going on in the hips today. And exploring that from all angles. So slowly come to a standstill. Let's take an inhalation and drop the belly, lift the chest to come to cow posture. And on an exhalation, arch the spine, coming into the cat posture. Again, inhale, concave your spine, draw your sternum forward. And as you exhale, press the palms into the ground, arch the spine, and draw the abdomen inwards. One more time, inhale into cow posture. And as you exhale, come into cat posture. And just pausing in cat posture, try and get a sense of the pressure that your palms make with the ground and feel how it seems as if there's a line of energy that kind of goes underneath the arms, into the armpits and into the abdominal area. Now with that dynamic in mind, take an inhalation to come to a neutral position. So there's still some engagement behind the shoulders. And as you exhale, tuck the toes and lift the hips up to come to downward facing dog. Great. So let's warm up the calves in downward facing dog. So bend your left knee and extend your right heel backwards and downwards. Just hold in this position for a breath or two. And then change. Bend your right knee and extend the left heel backwards and downwards. So once again, pausing in this position. And then when you're ready, begin to alternate. So just walking the feet, bending one knee, then the other, perhaps moving the hips from side to side. So once again, we're exploring the hips, maybe taking the movement into the lower back. And when you're ready, take an inhalation to come to the tips of your toes. And as you exhale, send both heels simultaneously backwards and downwards. Great. Now on an inhalation, raise your right leg, come into three-legged dog. And as you exhale, swing it forwards, bring it outside of the right wrist, drop down to the left knee and untuck the left foot. So we're just going to hang out in this posture. Again, we're warming up the hip and the groin area. So try and make sure that the angle between the upper and lower leg is roughly 90 degrees, about 90 degrees. You can adjust the back knee backwards or forwards and come to a position that's fairly comfortable for you. And if you're finding that this posture is a bit too easy, a bit too boring for you, then maybe take the left forearm down to the ground and take the right hand to the right knee. If you can't take the forearm down, then feel free to keep the left arm straight and just take the right hand to the right knee. Now, if you've gone down to the forearm variation, take the right hand back down to the ground to push yourself up. Take an inhalation and tuck your back foot. And as you exhale, step back, coming into downward facing dog. Now we do the other side. So inhaling, left leg raises, three-legged dog. And exhaling, swing it forward. Take the left foot outside of the left wrist. Drop down to the right knee and untuck the right foot. So once again, you can adjust the right knee. I like to move mine backwards slightly, but it's going to be different with different bodies. So at this point, we're just doing what's appropriate for our own bodies. And as we did on the other side, you can either hang out in this position with both palms pressed into the ground, or if you'd like to go deeper, then take the right forearm to the ground and take your left hand to your left knee. Once again, feel free to just keep the palm of the right hand on the ground as you take the left hand to left knee. You'll still get the benefit from this posture. So taking the forearm down is a somewhat deeper version of the posture. Now take your left hand to the ground, push yourself back up. Take an inhalation, tuck the back foot. And as you exhale, step back into downward facing dog. You can adjust the feet slightly forwards, so maybe shortening your dog. And now taking an inhalation in downward dog. As you exhale, take your right hand and reach back and try and grab hold of your left ankle. If that's too hard, then maybe catch hold of the space behind the left knee. If the ankle is easy, then maybe catch hold of the left heel. So using the arms to rotate the spine, perhaps looking under the left armpits, that left arm is really strong. As you inhale, slide the right hand forwards to come back to downward dog. And as you exhale, thread the left arm under and grab hold of the ankle, heel, or behind the knee joint. So once again, rotating through the spine, perhaps looking under the right armpit. Holding here for a breath or two. And then as you inhale, slide that left arm forwards, coming back to your normal downward facing dog. And now we begin to cultivate Ujjayi breath. So there's a slight restriction in the back of the throat, creating sound. Begin to draw your lower abdomen in. And on an inhalation, rock forwards to a plank position. On an exhalation, then the elbows lower all the way down to the ground. Untuck your toes and then shift your hands forward so that your elbows are under the shoulders. So coming into the Sphinx posture, we're taking the spine into extension. And try and imagine that the center of your chest is drawing forwards and your shoulders are relaxing down the back. Take one more inhalation here. And as you exhale, slide the hands back behind the shoulders, lower the forehead to the ground. Push slightly forwards with the hands until you feel the elbows start to drop, until you feel the shoulders start to roll away from your ears. And then inhale, push up to all fours, tuck the toes, and exhale into downward facing dog. Take an inhalation in downward facing dog. And exhale, extend the heels backwards. Now inhale, once again, rock forwards to plank. And exhale, bend the elbows, lowering all the way down to the ground. Untuck the toes again, and this time take the hands to shoulder level. So you want your hands underneath the shoulders. For some people, maybe you have to have a wider hand position. And again, you're pushing slightly forwards on your mat, as if you're trying to turn your mat into a magic carpet and push it forwards. Now, when you push forwards, your shoulders drop backwards, and with that dynamic in mind, take an inhalation to come to Cobra. So we stay with bent elbows and try and have the shoulders dropped downwards. So don't let the shoulders rise up like this, but keep the elbows bent and off the ground with the shoulders downwards. One more inhalation here. And as you exhale, lower the forehead down, slide the hands halfway back towards the hips. Push slightly forward and inhale yourself up to all fours. Exhale, tuck the toes, come to downward facing dog. Now stepping up the pace slightly, take an inhalation, come to plank again. And as you exhale, bend the elbows, lower to chaturanga. Keep the elbows in. Inhale, roll over the toes, come to upward facing dog. And exhale into downward facing dog. We do that again. So inhaling, rock forwards to plank. Exhaling, bend the elbows, chaturanga. Inhaling, upward facing dog. And exhaling, downward facing. Take a few breaths here, maybe shortening the stance if you need to. On your next inhalation, raise your right leg to three-legged dog. On an exhalation, swing it forwards in between the hands. On an inhalation, step left foot up to meet the right, straighten your spine. And on an exhalation, fold forward. Inhaling, raise the arms, bring the palms together. And exhaling, arms float down alongside the body. Inhale, raise the arms, palms together. Exhale, fold forwards. Inhale, straighten your spine. Exhale, step right leg back and then left, coming into plank position. Now lower to chaturanga. Inhale, come to upward facing dog. And exhale, roll to downward facing dog. Take a couple of breaths here. On your next inhalation, raise the left leg to three-legged dog. On an exhalation, swing it forwards in between the hands. Now inhale, step right foot up to meet the left, straighten your spine. And exhale, fold forward. Inhale, raise the arms, palms together. Exhale, arms come down alongside the body. Inhale, raise the arms, look up to the thumbs. Exhale, fold forwards. Draw your abdomen in as you fold. Inhale, straighten your spine. And exhale, this time jump back and lower into chaturanga. Inhale, come to upward facing dog. And exhale into downward facing. Hold and breathe, maybe adjusting your downward facing dog. Have your feet hip width apart. Have the heels extending backwards and downwards. Straightening through the legs if you can. And if your legs are straight, then engage your quads. Take an inhalation in downward dog. And as you exhale, bend the knees, look forwards. Now inhale, jump to a standing position, straighten your spine. And exhale, fold, relaxing through the head. Inhaling, raise the arms, palms together. And exhaling, arms come down alongside the body. Again, inhaling, raise the arms, palms together. Exhaling, fold forwards, bending from the hips. Inhaling, straighten the spine. And exhaling, jump back, lowering to chaturanga position. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing. Hold and breathe in this position. This time, try and get a sense of what your upper body is doing. So palms are pressed into the ground, fingers are slightly spread. You're trying to take the weight predominantly in the thumb and index finger sides of the hands. You're trying to rotate the biceps ever so slightly forwards. This has the effect of taking the shoulders a little bit away from the ears. Let the head and neck be relaxed. Take an inhalation here. And as you exhale, bend the knees, look forwards. Inhale, jump to stand, straighten your spine. And exhale, fold forward. Inhaling, raise the arms, palms together. Exhaling, arms come down alongside the body. So just pausing here with the arms alongside the body. Paying attention to the sensations in your body that you just created from doing the sun salutation. Perhaps rotating the shoulders backwards a couple of times and then just allowing them to come to rest alongside the body. And now we begin to move again. So on your next inhalation, bend the knees, perhaps touching the ground, raise the arms, come to the awkward chair posture. On an exhalation, fold forwards, straighten your legs and drop your head in. Inhaling, straighten your spine. And exhaling, jumping back, lowering to chaturanga. Inhaling, come to upward facing dog. And exhaling into downward facing. Turn your left foot out. Now inhale, right foot steps forwards, raising the arms, come to warrior one position. On an exhalation, take your hands down, step back, lower into chaturanga again. Inhaling, come to upward facing dog. And exhaling into downward facing. Now turn your right foot out. Inhale, left foot steps forward, raise the arms, palms together. Exhaling, take the hands down, step back, lowering to chaturanga one more time. Inhaling, come to upward facing dog. Exhaling, downward facing. Take a few breaths here. Inhaling and exhaling. And if you're feeling a bit tired when we pause in downward facing dog, feel free to drop down to the knees and take pose of the child. So I'll give you a little bit of a warning before we start to move again, which is about now. So if you're in pose of a child, then come back up to your downward facing dog. Take an inhalation in downward facing dog. And as you exhale, bend your knees, look forwards. Inhale, jumping to stand, straighten your spine. And exhale, folding forwards, relax the head. Inhale, bend the knees, raise the arms, come to awkward chair again. And exhale, straight legs, arms by your side. Again, we inhale, bend the knees, raise the arms, look to the thumbs. Exhaling, fold forward, straighten your legs. Inhale to straighten your spine. And exhale, jump back, lower to chaturanga, elbows in. Inhale, come to upward facing dog. And exhale into downward facing. At the end of the exhalation, pivot your left foot. Now inhaling, step right foot forward, raise the arms, warrior one. Exhaling, take the hands back down, stepping back, lower to chaturanga. Inhaling, come to upward facing dog again. Exhaling, downward facing, pivot your right foot. Inhaling, left foot forward, raise the arms, palms together. Exhaling, take your hands down, step back, lower to chaturanga. Inhaling, come to upward facing dog. And exhaling, downward facing. Take a few breaths here. So inhaling, and as you exhale, draw your abdomen in. Inhaling, and as you exhale, extend the heels backwards. And once again, if you're feeling tired, then feel free to drop down to pose of a child. Not for long though. So if you've gone to pose of a child, come back to downward facing dog. Inhaling, downward facing dog. And exhaling, bending the knees, look forward. Inhale, jump to stand, straighten your spine. And exhale, fold forward. Inhale, bend the knees, raise the arms, palms together. And exhale, straight legs, arms by your sides. Inhaling, if you can, squat all the way down, raise the arms and then come up to awkward chair. Then exhaling, fold forward and straighten your legs. Inhaling, straighten your spine. And exhaling, jump back, lower to chaturanga. Inhaling, come to upward facing dog. And exhaling into downward facing. Turn your left foot up. Inhale, right foot steps forward, coming into warrior one position. This time on an exhalation, open the arms out wide, change the hips to come to warrior two. Gaze over the right arm. Staying here for a couple of breaths. One more inhalation. And then exhale, swivel round to take the hands to the ground and step back and lower down to chaturanga. Inhale, come to upward facing dog and exhale into downward facing dog. Now turn your right foot up. Inhale, step left foot forwards. So raising the arms to come to warrior one first. Then as you exhale, open the arms wide to come to warrior two. Then you're gazing over the left arm, trying to keep the back leg straight, trying to keep the front knee bent. One more inhalation here, and then exhale, take the hands down and step back, lower into chaturanga. Inhale, come to upward facing dog, and exhale into downward facing dog. Great. So once again, we're going to stay here for a few breaths. And once again, if you like, you can drop down into pose of a child. Take this opportunity to get in tune with what your breath is doing. Try and make the inhalations the same length as the exhalations. Try and use the breath to relax the body. If you're in pose of a child, come back up. Take an inhalation in downward facing dog. And as you exhale, bend the knees, look forwards. Inhale, jump to standing, straighten your spine. And exhale, fold forwards, relaxing the head. Inhale, bend the knees, raise the arms, come to awkward chair. And exhale, straight legs, arms alongside the body. We now layer a few more postures onto that. So taking an inhalation, bend the knees, raise the arms, look up to the thumb. On an exhalation, fold forward, straighten your legs, drop your head. Inhale to straighten your spine and exhale to jump, lowering to chaturanga. Inhale to upward facing dog. Exhale to downward facing, pivot your left foot. Inhale, right foot steps forward first, raise the arms, warrior one. Exhaling, open out to warrior two. Inhaling, come to reverse warrior, raise right arm over. And exhaling, swivel around, take the hands to the ground, step back, lower to chaturanga. Inhale, come to upward facing dog. And exhale, roll to downward facing dog. Turn your right foot out. Inhale, step left foot forward, raise the arms, palms together. Exhale, open out into warrior two. Inhale, come to reverse warrior. And exhale, swivel around, take the hands to the ground and step back, lower to chaturanga. Inhale, come to upward facing dog. And exhale, roll to downward facing dog. Hold this position and breathe. Once again, coming to pose of a child if you choose. If you're feeling strong, then stay in downward facing dog. Inhaling and exhale, draw the abdomen in. Inhale and exhale, draw the lower ribs in. Inhale and exhale, bend the knees, look forwards. Now inhale, jump to stand, straighten your spine. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, bend the knees, raise the arms, palms together. And exhale, straight legs, arms by your side. Great. So let's pause here once again. Maybe rotating the shoulders back once again. And then when you're ready, inhale, raise the arms, palms together. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, straighten your spine. And exhale, jump back, lower to chaturanga. Inhale, come to upward dog. And exhale into downward facing dog. Now inhale, this time we rock forwards into plank. And as you exhale, rotate to your right and come to side plank. So raising the left arm in side plank. If it's easy to balance, place the left foot on top of the right. If it's difficult, you can place it in front of the right. Now take an inhalation, lower the left arm alongside the body. And as you exhale, return to normal plank. As you inhale, roll over the toes, come straight to upward dog. And as you exhale, go into downward facing dog. We do the other side. So inhaling, rock to plank. Exhaling, rotate to the left. And come to whichever variation of this posture is a challenge for you. So you may be having your right foot in front of the left. You may have it on top. Or you may even drop the bottom knee down to the ground. And over time, you eventually build up the strength to have both legs on top of the other. Take an inhalation. Right arm comes alongside the body. On an exhalation, come to plank. On an inhalation, roll over the toes, bring the chest forwards. And as you exhale, roll to downward facing dog. Take a few breaths here. Inhaling and exhaling, maybe shaking out the head. Or staying in a position of stillness. One more inhalation. And as you exhale, bend the knees, look forwards. Now inhaling, jump to stand, straighten your spine. And exhaling, fold forward. So let's inhale up to a flat back. And then take the feet out to the side until they're hip width apart. Grab hold of your big toes with your first two fingers. And as you inhale, straighten your spine. As you exhale, fall forward. So you're pulling on the toes and drawing the crown of the head down towards the ground. You can have your knees slightly bent here if you need to. If you're able to straighten the legs, then make sure to engage your quads when you get there. Keep drawing the abdomen in. Keep relaxing the shoulders away from the ears. Now take an inhalation, straighten your spine. And as you exhale, take your hands to your hips. Now inhaling, push up to a standing position. And exhaling, jump the feet together, arms by your sides. Inhale, raise the arms, palms together. Exhale, fold forwards. Inhale, straighten your spine. And exhale, jump back, lower to chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale once again, we rock to plank. And exhale, turn to the right and raise left arm up. Coming to side plank. This time, if you can, bend up the left knee, coming into tree plank. And now take that left foot over to the other side, touching the toes down, and raise the left arm over, come to wild thing position. On an exhalation, take your left hand back down and lower to chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, rock forwards to plank. And exhale, rotate to the left. Come to side plank. So raising the right arm up. And then when you're ready, if you're able to, bend up the right knee. Then take it over to the other side. Then raise the right arm over, open the chest, and look up to the palm of the hand. One more inhalation here. And then exhale, take your right hand down, flip the right leg over, lower into chaturanga, and inhale, come to upward facing dog. Exhale into downward facing dog. So we take a few breaths here. Inhaling and exhaling. Relaxing the body, tuning back into the sound of the breath. Great. Now bending the knees, look forward. And on an inhalation, just hop the feet forward slightly and let's drop down to the knees. Come up to an upright kneeling position. So you want your knees to be hip width apart. We're going to bend backwards into what's called the camel posture. So if you find it easy to bend backwards, then perhaps untuck your toes. If you find it relatively difficult, then you can tuck the toes. And as you inhale, raise your right arm up. As you exhale, swing it round behind the body to catch hold of the top of the right heel and make sure to try and keep your right hip pushing forwards. Now inhale to raise the left arm up and exhale to swing it behind and catch hold of the left heel. Push both hips forwards. Your chin can still be tucked in at this stage. And then when you're ready, you may be able to drop the head back. If you have neck problems, then perhaps keep the chin tucked in. To come out of the posture, push your hips forwards, take your hands to your hips, and as you exhale, take the hands to the ground. Great. Take an inhalation here, and as you exhale, hop back and lower to chaturanga. Inhale, come to upward dog, and exhale into downward facing dog. Take a few breaths here. One more inhalation. Exhaling, bend the knees, look forwards. Now inhaling, jump to standing, straighten your spine. Exhaling, folding forward. And once again, we inhale to a flat back and then heel toe the feet out to the side until your feet are hip width apart. We're now going to a slightly deeper forward fold. So when you're ready, thread your hands underneath your feet. Try and thread the hands all the way to the wrists, even if that means you have to bend your knees. And once you get there, take an inhalation to straighten the spine. And as you exhale, fold forward. So once again, you're drawing the crown of the head down towards the ground. Elbows come slightly out to the sides. If your legs are straight, engage your quads. Keep drawing your lower abdomen in. Stay here for a couple of breaths. And then inhaling, straighten your spine. Exhaling, release your hands to your hips. Inhaling, come up to standing. And exhale, jump the feet together, arms by your side. Now inhaling, bend the knees, raise the arms to come to awkward chair. This time on an exhalation, crouch down low and twist towards the left-hand side. So hooking the right tricep against the left thigh. On an inhalation, come back to center. Keep your knees bent. On an exhalation, twist towards the right. So you may find you have to crouch down lower than you thought. And try and get your namaste hands in towards the center of your chest. Take an inhalation. And exhale, drop the hips. Inhale, come back to center, raise the arm. And exhale, take the hands down, then straighten the legs, drop the head in. Inhale, straighten your spine. And exhaling, jump back, lower to chaturanga. Inhale, come to upward facing dog. And exhale into downward facing dog. Take a few breaths here. Inhaling and exhaling, maybe shaking out the head. Inhaling and exhaling, perhaps now lengthening your exhalation. Inhale, and as you exhale, turn your left foot out to the side. You can bring it slightly forwards. Inhale, step right foot forward, raise the arms, come to warrior one. And then exhale, open out to warrior two position. On an inhalation, straighten your right leg. And on an exhalation, reach out and tip over, taking right hand to right shin, raising left arm and coming to triangle posture. So you're looking up towards the left thumb. One more inhalation here. And then exhale, drop the arm behind the body. Grab hold of the top of the right thigh if you can. You may find you're not able to. If that's the case, maybe just grab hold of your shirt. You're really trying to draw the left shoulder back and open the chest. Take an inhalation here, and as you exhale, begin to bend the right knee. Staying in this position, maybe take the right hand to the ground on the inside of the right foot. If you're very comfortable here, if your left shoulder is drawn backwards, then release your half bind and just thread the right arm underneath the body and interlock fingers. Coming into a bound warrior. One more inhalation. And then exhale, take the hands to the ground, step back, lower to chaturanga. Inhale, come to upward facing dog, and exhale into downward facing dog. Turn your right foot out to do the other side. Inhale, step left foot forward, raise the arms, come to warrior one. Exhale, opening out to warrior two. Inhaling, straighten your left leg, and exhaling, reach out until you can reach no more. And then take your left hand to your left shin, raise the right arm up. If you've got good balance, look up towards the right thumb. So staying here for a few breaths. Then when you're ready, on an exhalation, drop the right arm behind the body and see whether you can grab hold of the top of the left thigh. So it doesn't matter if you can actually hold the thigh. The important thing is that this top shoulder, the right shoulder, draws backwards. So opening through the chest. And still keeping the chest open, take an inhalation, and as you exhale, bend the left knee, and then perhaps release the left hand to the ground on the inside of the left foot. And you're perfectly free to stay in this position if you find it challenging. If you can do more, then thread the left arm underneath the body and interlock fingers, coming into the bound warrior, deep bend in the left knee, opening the chest up as if towards the ceiling. One more inhalation, and then exhale, release your bind, take your hands to the ground and step back, lower into chaturanga. Inhale, come to upward facing dog, and exhale into downward facing dog. Hold and breathe. So we now begin our transition into seated postures. So take an inhalation in downward facing dog. And as you exhale, bend the knees, look forwards. Now on an inhalation, just jump the feet behind the wrists. So you want maybe about an inch or 2 inches, better. So your feet are behind the wrists. And now kind of crouching down, we're going to go into crow posture. So the easiest way is to take the knees slightly wider than the arms, bending the elbows, the triceps form a shelf, and you're just kind of sitting on that shelf, leaning forwards. And if you're working on this, then you can just bring one leg up and drop it down, lift the other leg up and drop it down. And then when you've got your balance, then you can try and lift both legs up at the same time, bringing the toes together if possible, coming into crow posture. And on an exhalation, take the feet down and step back to downward facing dog. And maybe trying that again. So bend the knees, look forward. And inhaling, jump. And if you found that the wide knee position was easy for you, then maybe see whether you can take the knees into the armpits and then start with bent elbows. So your shins are now resting on your triceps and you're leaning forwards into the hands and lifting the feet up. And if you're comfortable here, then straighten your arm. Take an inhalation and exhale, jump back, lower to chaturanga. Inhale, come to upward facing dog, and exhale, roll to downward facing dog. So we're going to do one more peak posture. So take an inhalation in downward facing dog, and as you exhale, bend the knees, look forwards. This time, jump the feet to the outside of the wrists. So jumping and landing, bend the knees to come to this kind of squatting position. Now lift your hips up and then take your hands slightly back, come to the fingertips. So your hands are behind the heels, wrists are lifted, And then bend your knees until you can place the backs of your palms on the ground, the whole palm on the ground, and then you're now sitting on this shelf again. And then if you can, straighten out one leg, drop it down, straighten out the other leg, drop it down. And as you probably guessed, we're going to work on straightening both legs. So maybe your feet just come a little bit off the ground, maybe you come up to the toes, see whether you're balanced to lift the feet. And then if you can, maybe straighten the legs. Take an inhalation here. And on an exhalation, swing the legs back to come to crow and jump back to lower to chaturanga. Inhale, come to upward facing dog. And exhale to downward facing. Bend your knees, look forwards. And inhale, jump to a seated position. So we get to sit down in seated postures. So straighten out your legs and bring your hands alongside your hips. This is called the staff posture. So even though we're in a seated position, it's still quite an active posture. So you're extending forward through the balls of the feet. Legs are active, quads are engaged. Draw the lower abdomen in if you can. Lift the chest and relax the shoulders down the back. Take an inhalation, and as you exhale, perhaps drop your chin in towards your chest. And you should feel a nice stretch in the back of the neck. Keep relaxing the shoulders downwards. Maybe straighten the arms to lift the shoulders up. And then relax them back down again. On your next inhalation, raise the head, raise the arms. On an exhalation, fold forwards. This time we're catching hold of the outsides of the feet. And feel free once again to bend the knees if you need to. So you can do this with bent knees. And if you're working on straightening the legs, if you do this posture in socks, you can slowly slide one heel forwards, then the other, keeping your abdomen on your thighs until one day you'll find that your legs just straighten, and perhaps you can bring your chin down towards your shins. Now take an inhalation, coming back to the staff position. And as you exhale, take your hands behind your hips. Bend the elbows, point the toes. And on an inhalation, straighten the arms, lift the chest, lift the hips, drop the head back. If this is difficult, just bend the knees and come to a tabletop position. Whichever one you're doing, try and squeeze the space between the shoulder blades together. And exhale, lower the hips back down, bring the hands forwards. Take an extra inhalation here. And as you exhale, cross your ankles, have your knees close together. So we inhale, lift the feet, rocking back, and exhale, roll onto the hands and jump back into chaturanga. Inhale, come to upward facing dog, and exhale into downward facing dog. Bend your knees, look forward, and inhale, jump to a seated position. Try and land on your shins with your toes pointing back. Sit back, straighten out the legs. Now take an inhalation in this position. And as you exhale, bend your right knee and draw your heel in towards your groin. Let your right knee just drop out to the side. Take an inhalation and raise the arms up. And as you exhale, fold forwards, catching hold of the outsides of the left foot. Again, if this is something you can't manage, then feel free to bend the knee. And over time, you can slide that left heel forwards until one day it will be straight. If you can go quite deep in this posture, take an inhalation to straighten the spine. And as you exhale, fold forwards, taking your chin down towards your shin and gazing towards your left toes. If your elbows are bent, then perhaps you can experiment with reaching beyond the foot, grabbing hold of the right wrist with the left hand. And now inhaling, come to an upright position. And exhaling, take left hand to right knee. Inhale, raise the right arm up. And as you exhale, just lean towards that left leg, taking the right arm over and stretching the right side body. Stay in this position. If you're flexible, then see whether you can grab the little toe side of the left foot and use the arms as levers to rotate the upper body, dropping the back of the head onto the left shin. Inhale, untwist yourself and straighten out your right leg. On an exhalation, cross the ankles. Don't take the heels to the ground this time. Inhaling to straighten the spine, lift the arms, and exhaling, begin to lift the knees, come to the half boat posture. Pausing here, and then if you can go deeper, then straighten out your legs to come to boat posture. Exhale, cross the ankles, grab the sides of the feet, and then roll over the feet onto the hands, jump back, lower to chaturanga. Inhale, come to upward facing dog, and exhale into downward facing dog. Bend your knees, look forward, and inhale, jump to a seated position. So this time we're going to bend the left knee and draw the left heel in towards the groin. Let the left knee drop out to the side. And when you're ready, inhale to raise the arms and exhale to fold forwards, catching the outsides of the right foot. Once again, you can bend the right knee if you need to. If you're flexible, take an extra inhalation to straighten your spine. And as you exhale, fold forwards. You're aiming to drop your chin towards your shin. For some people, it could be forehead. Again, if your elbows are bent, then you can play around, maybe see whether you can reach the left wrist with your right hand. So sometimes this is to do with body proportions. If you've got long arms, then you may find that this comes easier to you. So if you can't do it, don't worry too much. In this position, you're keeping the right leg active.
Getting into a savings habit and sticking to it is hard at the best of times. Now, for the millions of people.
Now inhale, come to an upright position.
Harder, and there's not much.
And exhale, take your right hand to your left knee. Inhaling, raise the left arm up. And exhaling, lean over to the right leg. The left arm is over. And if you can't reach the foot, then just stay there. You should still feel a nice stretch along the outside of the body here. If you can, then maybe catch hold of the little toe side of the right foot. And once you're there, then you can use the arms as levers to rotate the body, maybe dropping the back of the head onto the right shin, looking up towards the ceiling. Now inhale, untwist yourself, come to an upright position, straighten out your left leg. And exhaling, cross the ankles, knees close together and heels off the ground. Now really draw your knees in towards your chest. Take your hands to the ground forwards of the hips. And on an inhalation, see whether you can lift off the ground and then exhale, come down, straighten out the legs. Fantastic. Now take an inhalation, and as you exhale, cross the ankles. Inhale, and as you exhale, take the hands forwards and jump back to lower to chaturanga. Inhale, come to upward facing dog, and exhale into downward facing dog. Great. Take a couple of breaths here. Inhaling and exhale, bend the knees, look forwards. Inhale, jump into a seated position. Sit back. And now come straight into the boat posture. So if you can, once again, raising the legs, pointing through the toes, lifting through the chest and drawing the shoulders back. On an exhalation, slowly lower the feet to the ground. And now take your right foot, thread it underneath the left. So take the right heel to the outside of the left hip. Try and have the knee in the center of the body. And if you're comfortable there, then take the left leg over. Now on an inhalation, raise the left arm. And on an exhalation, take it behind the body. Inhaling, raise your right arm. And exhaling, hug the knee. So coming into a twisting position, and you can look over the left shoulder. So each inhalation, lifting the spine out of the pelvis. Each exhalation, using the arms as leverage to draw you deeper into the chest. And if you'd like, you can try another variation. So maybe release the hug of the knee, lean back and take the elbow across and just hook the right tricep against the left knee. And if your armpit is close to your knee, then maybe drop the hand and thread it through this little gap here, and then interlock fingers behind your body. Inhale, come back and tie your little knot and straighten out the legs. On an exhalation, cross your ankles. Have the heels off the ground again. And this time we're going to try and lift up and jump back without the feet touching the ground. So you're drawing the knees in tight, palms are on the ground, forwards of the hips, and then you lift up and then bend the elbows to jump back into chaturanga. Now inhale to come to upward dog and exhale into downward facing dog. And if you want to try that in reverse, jumping forwards, then you bend the knees and look forwards. Try and look beyond the hands. And as you inhale, you jump the hips up high. As soon as you're airborne, press the palms into the ground, draw the knees into the chest, and just swing the legs through the body, coming into a seated position. And now we do the boat posture again. So bend the knees, raise the arms, and lean back a little bit more as you lift the legs and straighten them to come to boat posture. One more inhalation here. And then exhaling, lower the feet down to the ground. Great. And this time we're taking the left leg under and threading it underneath the right, taking the left heel to the outside of the right hip, and then taking the right foot over. So if this is very difficult for you, then feel free to just leave that right foot where it is. If you can take it over, then take an inhalation, raise the right arm. On an exhalation, take it behind the body. Inhaling, raise your left arm, and exhaling, hug the knee. So as we did on the other side, inhale to create space between the vertebrae. And as you exhale, move into that space, twisting a little bit deeper. Draw your lower abdomen in. And also, as we did on the other side, you may decide to change the hand position. So you can release the hug of the knee, lean back, and then lean to the right to hook the left tricep against the right thigh. And this may be where you want to stay. Or you may decide that you're able to take your hand into this nice little gap here, release your right hand and interlock fingers, looking over the right shoulder. On an inhalation, come back to center, untie your little knot, straighten out the legs, and exhaling, lay down. So bend the knees up, drawing the heels towards the sit bones. Have your feet hip width apart or slightly wider. Have your toes pointing away from the body. Press your palms into the ground. And on your next inhalation, elevate the hips. So pushing into the front of the heels to elevate the hips. Keep it nice and gentle at this stage. So you want a kind of line, the thighs and the torso forming a line, a straight line-ish. And then on an exhalation, lower the hips down to the ground. Now, if you have more space, then draw the heels even closer to the sit bones. So we're going to go a little bit deeper now. So first option, if you have long arms, then grab hold of your ankles. If you can't reach your ankles, that's fine. Just keep your arms alongside the body. And on an inhalation, elevate the hips. If you're catching hold, keep hold. If you can't catch hold, then take your arms underneath the body, interlock the fingers, maybe wriggle the shoulders under a little bit, tuck the chin in. And this time we're trying to lift the hips past the center line. So now really bringing the chest in towards the chin. Don't let the knees drop out to the sides, but allow your quads to support you in this posture. And then as you exhale, lower the hips down, separate your interlocked fingers. Take a breath here. And for those who are able to, we now go into the wheel posture. So on an inhalation, let's all raise the arms over the head. On an exhalation, bend up the elbows and take your hands under the shoulders. So you might find that you have to have your hands a little bit wider than shoulder width apart. The important thing is to try and keep your elbows pointing up towards the ceiling rather than dropping too much out to the sides. Fingers are pointing towards the hips. And on an inhalation, just elevate the hips. So coming into that same position that we did before, except now the hands are in a different position. Now, for those who are able to, you might find that with a little bit of adjustment of the hands, you may be able to push up to the crown of your head. And if that's comfortable for you, then start to straighten the arms to lift up into a wheel posture. Once you're there, draw the abdomen in. Try and have the toes pointing away from the body. One more inhalation here. And as you exhale, come down. You can come down the same way you went up, or you can come all the way down to the ground. Now bend the knees into the chest. And just rock gently from side to side. Taking any niggles out of the lower back. Great, and now release the hug of your knees. Take your arms alongside your body. And now cross your right leg over your left. Maybe double hooking at the ankles if you can. You might need to use your hand, or you might not be able to, that's fine. As you inhale, take the arms wide. And as you exhale, drop the knees over to the left-hand side. Try and keep the back of the right shoulder grounded. And then inhaling, come back to the center. Uncross your legs and let's change over. So left leg crosses over right. Double cross with the ankles if you can. Inhaling, arms come out wide. And exhaling, drop the knees over to the right. And it doesn't matter if your knees are on the ground. The important thing is that you try and ground through the back of the left shoulder. You can either look up towards the ceiling or turn and look over the left shoulder. Inhaling, come back to center. And exhaling, uncross the legs, take the arms alongside the body. Inhale to straighten your legs. Have the soles of the feet pointing towards the ceiling. And let's just stay here, briefly drawing the abdomen in. Now take an inhalation and exhaling, lower the left leg down to the ground. Try and keep the right leg elevated. Sole of the right foot is facing the ceiling, perhaps pointing through the left foot. Now inhale, raise your left leg to meet the right, and exhale, lower the right leg down to the ground. Both legs are straight and strong. On your next inhalation, elevate the right leg. On an exhalation, begin to send the feet behind the head, press the palms into the ground, and just lift up into a shoulder stand, so you're catching your sacrum. Perhaps work the elbows a bit closer together. Perhaps work the hands into the mid-back. And if you're comfortable here, just see whether you can straighten out your right arm. So you're just supporting yourself with the left arm. And then maybe see whether you can straighten out the left arm. So you're coming into an unsupported shoulder stand. Take an inhalation and exhale. Lower your feet behind your head to come to plow posture. On your next inhalation, go back up to shoulder stand. On an exhalation, drop the hips back down to the ground so the soles of the feet are facing the ceiling once more. Now inhale, stay in that position. And as you exhale, lower the heels towards the ground, but don't let them touch. Just keep them hovering about 2 inches off the ground. And then inhale, come straight back up to that unsupported shoulder stand. Exhale, lower the feet behind the head, come to the plow posture. Inhale, come back up to shoulder stand. And exhale, lower the hips down to the ground. Take an extra inhalation here. And as you exhale, lower the heels down towards the ground. And this time, take them all the way down. Now roll slightly to your left and take your right arm underneath the body. Roll slightly to your right, take the left arm underneath and interlock your thumbs. Come back to center, so you're now lying on your interlocked thumbs. Press the elbows and forearms into the ground and elevate your upper body. On an exhalation, drop the head back, taking the crown of the head to the ground. This is called the fish posture. So just opening through the chest, through the throat, pointing through the toes. To come out of the posture, press the elbows into the ground, just lift the head slightly and just slide it back. Now you can take your arms out from underneath the body. Open the palms to face the ceiling. and allow the feet to fall out to the side. So coming into corpse posture. Allow your eyes to drop closed. Allow your breath to come back to normal. And perhaps begin to scan the body, starting from the toes. So feeling the toes relaxing, move your attention to the soles of the feet. Feel the tension draining out through the soles of the feet. Feel the heels heavy on the ground. And allow your attention to move up towards the calves. Calves resting heavily on the ground. Quads softening, releasing their grips on the knee joints. Feel your hips resting on the ground, totally supported. Feel how your abdomen drops in towards the spine as your breath relaxes. Feel your chest, the center of your chest opening towards the ceiling, towards the sky. And imagine that there's a ball of light in the center of your chest, your heart center, which expands. And as it expands, it spreads relaxation through the body. So imagine this ball of light is expanding out to the shoulders, down the arms, all the way to the fingers. Imagine it expands down the legs all the way to the toes, up through the neck and into the face. Soften your jaw, relax your tongue and cheeks. Feel how the eyelids become heavy. Feel how the eyeballs sink deeper into the sockets. Forehead is relaxed. Imagine that your ball of light has now expanded beyond your body, filling up the whole room. Relax in this bubble of relaxation for a few moments. Just watching your breath. Now when you're ready, draw your attention in towards your breath and begin to use the breath to inspire your body into motion. So perhaps moving one finger or one toe and allowing this movement to expand into a wriggling. Begin to rotate the wrists and the ankles. Move the head from side to side and then raise the arms over the head. Bring the feet together, point the toes in the opposite direction. Taking one more stretch. Now bringing the arms alongside the body, bend the knees up one after the other and roll onto your right hand side. Gently push up into a comfortable seated position. Now bring your left thumb and index finger together, straighten the left arm. Fold your index finger and middle finger into the thumb, so you've got your ring finger, pinky finger, and thumb free. Take an inhalation, and then blocking your right nostril with your thumb, exhale through your left nostril. Now inhale through the left nostril. Lock the left nostril with your ring finger and exhale through the right nostril. Inhale through your right nostril. Block it with your thumb and exhale through the left nostril. Inhale, left nostril. Block it and exhale through the right nostril. Inhale through the right nostril. Block right nostril, exhale left. One more time, inhale through the left nostril. This time block both nostrils at the top, retaining the breath briefly. And then opening the right nostril, exhale with control. And finally, inhaling through the right nostril, deep inhalation, once again blocking both nostrils. Keep your shoulders and jaw relaxed. Now open your left nostril and exhale with control. You can take your right hand from your face, take right thumb and index finger together, straightening the spine. And now bring your palms together in front of the heart. This is the end of the practice. Namaste. Thank you. Have a great afternoon, everyone. Have a great rest of the festival.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Olu. That was a wonderful, inspiring practice. I ended up practicing along with you.
That's great.
I was very pleased to have the stop the video though. For me.
Did you hear about my secret power? I can see what everyone's doing without the video.
Great.
I saw you taking a nap there.
Well, thank you. Really wonderfully inspiring. It was
Thank
great.
you. Thank you.
Take care.
Have a good afternoon.
You too.
Bye-bye.